It's November 2024, and somewhere beneath the crushing darkness of the world's oceans, a machine of unimaginable power glides silently through the depths. At 560 feet long and displacing over 20,000 tons when submerged, this vessel is larger than most surface warships, yet it moves through the water like a ghost, invisible to the world above. Inside its steel hull, 155 souls live and work in one of the most extreme environments on Earth, carrying a responsibility that could reshape civilization itself. This is the Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine, America's newest and most powerful underwater weapon. Each one costs over $15 billion to build, making it one of the most expensive military assets ever constructed. But the price tag tells only part of the story. Hidden within the submarine's massive frame are 16 missile tubes, each 44 feet tall and capable of launching a Trident 2D5 ballistic missile that can reach targets over 7,000 miles away with pinpoint accuracy. The crew aboard this underwater Leviathan hasn't seen sunlight in over 2 months. They've been operating in complete isolation. No phone calls, no internet, no contact with the outside world, except for coded military communications. Their air is manufactured by machines that split seawater into breathable oxygen. Their food comes from supplies loaded months ago. Their only windows to the outside world are sonar displays and periscope feeds that reveal an alien landscape of endless blue-black water. Yet this isolation is intentional. These submarines represent the most survivable leg of America's nuclear triad, the ultimate insurance policy against global catastrophe. While missile silos can be targeted and bombers can be tracked, a nuclear submarine on patrol simply vanishes into the vast ocean, becoming nearly impossible to find or destroy. Today, we're taking you inside this hidden world, revealing how the most secretive branch of the U.S. Navy operates these technological marvels, how their crews endure months of underwater isolation, and why these silent giants represent the backbone of nuclear deterrence in the 21st century. Deep beneath the surface, where sunlight has never penetrated and the pressure outside could crush a human body in milliseconds, 155 submariners go about their daily routines with clockwork precision. This is life aboard America's most powerful nuclear submarine, a world where day and night exist only on artificial schedules, where privacy is a luxury few can afford, and where every breath of air is a product of advanced engineering. The crew operates on an ingenious rotation system that maximizes the submarine's operational capability. Each Columbia-class submarine actually has 2 complete crews, the Blue Crew and the Gold Crew. While one crew takes the boat on a strategic deterrent patrol lasting up to 90 days, the other crew remains on shore, training, resting, and preparing for their next deployment. This system, perfected over decades, means that America's nuclear submarines spend roughly 70% of their time at sea, making them nearly impossible for adversaries to track or predict. Each crew consists of exactly 159 personnel, 15 commissioned officers and 144 enlisted sailors, carefully selected and extensively trained in nuclear operations. The commanding officer, typically a Navy captain, oversees not just the submarine's mission, but the delicate social ecosystem that keeps 155 people functioning harmoniously in a space roughly the size of a large office building, but compressed into a steel tube. Living quarters are Spartanly efficient. Junior enlisted sailors share berthing compartments where beds, called racks, are stacked 3 high with barely 2 feet of clearance between them. Each sailor gets a personal space about the size of a coffin, equipped with a thin mattress, a small reading light, and a privacy curtain. Personal belongings must fit into a single small locker. Senior petty officers and chiefs get slightly more space, while officers share 2-person staterooms that would be considered cramped in any surface dwelling. The submarine runs on an 18-hour watch schedule rather than the standard 24-hour day. This compressed schedule helps manage the crew's psychological adaptation to their sunless environment, while maximizing alert personnel at all times. Meals are served every 6 hours, with the galley producing roughly 400 meals daily from supplies that must last the entire patrol. Fresh water comes from seawater processed through the submarine's nuclear-powered distillation system, which can produce thousands of gallons daily. The air they breathe is manufactured aboard the submarine through electrolysis. Seawater is split into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity from the nuclear reactor. Carbon dioxide is scrubbed from the air using sophisticated chemical absorption systems, while trace contaminants are removed through activated carbon filters. Recreation exists in carefully rationed doses. The submarine carries a library of movies, books, and video games, but entertainment time is limited by duty schedules and the need for quiet operations. Many submariners develop hobbies that can be practiced in confined spaces: reading, writing, studying for advancement exams, or playing chess. Behind a heavily secured door in the submarine's missile compartment lies the most destructive force ever deployed by the United States Navy. 16 vertical launch tubes stretch 44 feet from the submarine's keel to just below its deck, each one capable of housing a Trident 2D5 ballistic missile that represents the pinnacle of American nuclear engineering. These aren't just weapons. They're instruments of global stability, designed never to be fired but always ready to launch within minutes of receiving authenticated orders. Each Trident II missile stands 44 feet tall and weighs 130,000 pounds when fully loaded. The missile's 3 solid-fuel rocket stages can accelerate its payload to speeds exceeding 18,000 miles per hour, following a ballistic trajectory that arcs high above the Earth's atmosphere before descending toward targets up to 7,500 miles away. The accuracy is staggering. After traveling thousands of miles, these missiles can strike within 300 feet of their intended target, a precision that would have been unimaginable to the submarine pioneers of World War II. The current fleet of 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines carries approximately half of all active nuclear warheads in the American strategic arsenal. Each submarine on patrol represents more destructive potential than all the explosives used in World War II combined. Yet this massive firepower remains completely hidden beneath the ocean's surface, invisible to satellites, radar, or enemy detection systems. The process of preparing and maintaining these weapons requires extraordinary expertise. Missile technicians, among the most highly trained sailors in the Navy, conduct daily inspections of each missile tube using specialized equipment. The missiles themselves are monitored continuously. Temperature, humidity, pressure, and dozens of other parameters are tracked to ensure readiness. A single missile costs approximately $37 million, but the knowledge that it will function perfectly if ever called upon is considered priceless. Strategic targeting comes from the United States Strategic Command Headquarters in Nebraska, transmitted to submarines through extremely low-frequency radio signals that can penetrate hundreds of feet of seawater. These communications are heavily encrypted and require multiple levels of authentication. The submarine's captain and executive officer each carry keys to separate safes containing the launch codes. Both officers must agree and act simultaneously for any missile launch to proceed. But the true power of these submarines lies not in their ability to launch missiles, but in their ability to remain undetected while carrying them. The Columbia-class submarines incorporate decades of acoustic research, featuring advanced sound-dampening materials built into their hull design. The submarine's nuclear reactor runs so quietly that it produces less noise than the ambient sound of the ocean itself. This stealth capability ensures that potential adversaries can never be certain where these submarines are operating, creating what military strategists call uncertainty in the mind of the enemy, the foundation of nuclear deterrence. The missiles themselves are maintained in a constant state of readiness, but Navy regulations require that no single person aboard the submarine can initiate a launch. Multiple independent confirmations, authentication codes, and fail-safe mechanisms ensure that these ultimate weapons remain under positive control at all times. In October 2020, inside the massive shipyard at Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut, construction began on what many consider the most complex machine ever built by human hands. The Columbia-class submarine represents a quantum leap in underwater engineering, incorporating technologies that push the absolute limits of materials, science, nuclear physics, and precision manufacturing. Each submarine requires over 7 years to complete and costs more than the entire GDP of some small nations. The Columbia-class hull stretches 560 feet in length with a diameter of 43 feet, 1 foot wider than its Ohio-class predecessors. This seemingly small increase in width allows for dramatically improved internal arrangements and accommodates advanced systems that simply couldn't fit in earlier designs. The submarine's displacement when submerged reaches 20,810 tons, making it larger than most World War II battleships. Yet it can dive to depths exceeding 800 feet and remain completely undetectable by surface vessels passing directly overhead. The heart of this underwater giant is its nuclear reactor, designed to operate for the submarine's entire 42-year service life without refueling. This life-of-ship reactor represents a revolutionary advancement over previous submarine designs, which required costly and time-consuming refueling operations every 25 years. The reactor's fuel is enriched to weapons-grade levels, packed into fuel assemblies that will continue producing power for decades. The entire reactor compartment is sealed during construction and will never be opened during the submarine's operational life. Manufacturing a Columbia-class submarine requires coordinating over 5,000 suppliers across all 50 states. The submarine's hull is constructed from HY-80 steel, a specially developed alloy that maintains its strength even under the crushing pressures of deep ocean operations. Each hull section is welded with tolerances measured in fractions of inches. A single imperfect weld could prove catastrophic hundreds of feet underwater. The submarine's acoustic signature has been reduced through revolutionary stealth technologies. The outer hull incorporates multiple layers of sound-absorbing materials, with some sections featuring anechoic coatings that can absorb sonar pings rather than reflecting them back to enemy detection systems. The propulsion system uses a pump jet design rather than traditional propellers, eliminating the cavitation bubbles that create noise signatures detectable by enemy sonar. Perhaps most remarkably, the Columbia-class submarines are replacing the Ohio-class fleet on a precise timeline that ensures America's nuclear deterrent never experiences a capability gap. The first Ohio-class submarine, USS Ohio herself, entered service in 1981 and is scheduled for retirement in 2027, the exact same year the first Columbia-class submarine, USS Columbia, is scheduled to begin its first deterrent patrol. This timing represents decades of careful planning to ensure continuous coverage of America's nuclear deterrent mission. The technical challenges of building these submarines push American manufacturing to its limits. The missile tubes must be manufactured to tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch, while the nuclear reactor components require materials that can withstand radiation, corrosion, and extreme temperatures simultaneously for decades without maintenance. Since the 1960s, American ballistic missile submarines have maintained one of the most demanding operational schedules in military history. Their sole mission, strategic nuclear deterrence, requires them to remain constantly at sea, patrolling the world's oceans in patterns so unpredictable that even their own Navy cannot pinpoint their exact locations. This is the ultimate game of strategic hide-and-seek, played with vessels carrying enough firepower to alter the course of human civilization. The operational tempo is relentless. Each submarine follows a carefully choreographed 95-day cycle. 25 days in port for maintenance, resupply, and crew rest, followed by 70 days submerged on strategic deterrent patrol. During these underwater marathons, the submarines operate under emission control protocols so strict that they cannot surface, communicate with families, or reveal their position through any means. They become technological ghosts gliding silently through oceanic regions spanning from the Arctic ice pack to tropical waters near the equator. The psychological challenges of deterrent patrol duty are unlike any other military assignment. Crew members must function normally while knowing they carry weapons of unimaginable destruction, yet hoping they will never receive orders to use them. Many submariners describe the weight of this responsibility as both humbling and motivating. They understand that their vigilance helps prevent the very conflicts their weapons are designed to win. Operating conditions push both crew and machinery to extreme limits. In Arctic waters, submarines must navigate beneath ice sheets that can reach depths of 30 feet or more, using specialized sonar systems to find breathing holes and emergency surface locations. The water temperature outside the hull drops to just above freezing, while internal temperatures must be carefully regulated to prevent condensation that could damage sensitive electronics. In warmer waters, different challenges emerge. Thermal layers in tropical oceans can bend sonar signals in unpredictable ways, requiring constant adjustments to navigation and detection systems. The submarine's nuclear reactor generates enormous amounts of heat that must be dissipated into the surrounding water without creating thermal signatures that enemy satellites might detect. Communication with the outside world occurs only through carefully scheduled broadcasts using extremely low-frequency radio transmissions. These signals, transmitted from massive antenna arrays in locations like Cutler, Maine, can penetrate hundreds of feet of seawater, but carry only basic coded messages. Emergency communications protocols exist, but using them could potentially reveal the submarine's location to adversaries with sophisticated direction-finding equipment. The crew's isolation is so complete that major world events, elections, natural disasters, even changes in military leadership might not reach them for weeks. This communication blackout is intentional, ensuring that submarines on deterrent patrol remain focused on their mission rather than external distractions that could compromise their effectiveness or stealth. Navigation relies heavily on inertial guidance systems that track the submarine's position through precise measurements of acceleration and rotation, cross-checked periodically with GPS fixes obtained during brief periscope exposures. The accuracy of these systems is remarkable. After weeks of underwater navigation, position errors rarely exceed a few hundred yards. As we surface from this deep dive into America's most powerful nuclear submarines, the sheer magnitude of human achievement becomes undeniable. Each Columbia-class submarine represents not just a triumph of engineering, but a testament to the dedication of thousands of Americans who have spent decades perfecting the art of remaining invisible while carrying the ultimate responsibility. The numbers alone tell an extraordinary story. A single submarine displacing over 20,000 tons, powered by a reactor that will run for 42 years without refueling, carrying 16 missiles capable of reaching targets 7,500 miles away, with precision measured in hundreds of feet rather than miles. 7 years of construction involving 5,000 suppliers across every American state, resulting in a machine so complex that no single person fully understands every system aboard. Yet, these statistics, impressive as they are, barely capture the human dimension of this achievement. The men and women of the submarine force represent a unique breed of sailor. They voluntarily accept months of isolation in a steel tube beneath the ocean, breathing manufactured air and drinking processed seawater, all while maintaining the most sophisticated weapon systems ever created. Their average age is just 26 years old, yet they carry responsibilities that previous generations could never have imagined. They know that their vigilance helps maintain a delicate balance that has prevented global nuclear conflict for over 7 decades. The Columbia-class program represents an investment in peace through strength that will extend well into the 2080 CES. Each submarine's 42-year service life means that the vessels being built today will still be patrolling the world's oceans when today's young sailors are grandparents. This long-term commitment reflects a fundamental understanding that nuclear deterrence requires not just advanced technology, but unwavering dedication across generations of military personnel. Perhaps most remarkably, the success of these submarines is measured by what doesn't happen rather than what does. Every patrol completed without incident, every crisis diffused through the simple knowledge that these vessels exist somewhere beneath the waves, every potential conflict prevented by the certainty that America's nuclear deterrent remains intact and invisible. The Columbia-class submarines are weapons designed never to be fired, operated by sailors who hope they will never receive the orders they train constantly to execute. The technological leap from the first nuclear submarines of the 1950s to today's Columbia-class vessels mirrors the broader advancement of human civilization. Where early nuclear submarines could barely remain submerged for days, these modern marvels can operate underwater for months, while maintaining living conditions that, while Spartan, support complex operations requiring split-second timing and absolute precision. As geopolitical tensions shift and new challenges emerge around the globe, the role of these silent guardians becomes ever more critical. They represent the ultimate insurance policy for American national security, mobile, invisible, and virtually indestructible platforms that ensure no adversary can achieve a decisive first strike against the United States. The sailors who crew these remarkable vessels return from each patrol having served their country in ways that most Americans will never fully appreciate. They disappear beneath the waves for months at a time, maintaining equipment worth billions of dollars and weapons that could reshape the world, all while living in conditions that test the limits of human endurance and cooperation. In the depths of the world's oceans, America's most powerful submarines continue their eternal vigil, silent, invisible, and ready, ensuring that the peace they help maintain will endure for generations yet to come.